So, what exactly do you mean when you say, what do you mean?
I do not understand this. This really confuses me.
What's that supposed to mean?
Literally.
What's that supposed to mean?
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What are you talking about?
What's that supposed to mean?
Cultural anthropologist Ujwal Arkalgud and Motive Base president Jason Partridge will tell you that perception and meaning are the primary pressure points that shape and create the world we live in.
Inconceivable! You keep using that word.
Let's explore why meaning matters.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
Now, here's your host, Aaron Trafford.
Hey everybody, welcome. So this is the last episode of Season 1 of Why Meaning Matters. Aaron, I'm kind of sad because this has been immensely fun, but I'm also excited because I think part of this episode is we're also going to tease what we're going to dive into in
yes,
Season 2.
And it took us 12 episodes. Now you're confident enough to open the show, which is great and super fun. Let's do something different, though, because we have no agenda for this show other than to answer the question, where do we need to go next? How do we want Season 2 to feel? What have we learned? Okay, wait, I said only one question and then I just asked like three. But like, what are we feeling? How are we feeling right now?
Yeah, I think fundamentally we're feeling really, really good, primarily because I think the world is opening up to anthropologists. Jason and I sometimes scratch our heads, or in disbelief, I guess, as to why we're still in business in a way, because what we do is deeply academic, right? I can't tell you the number of times our clients have said, sometimes when I'm on calls with you guys, I feel like I was back in university again, attending a class. And initially we thought they were in a good way. Initially, we thought they were insulting us. And then we realized it's because there's a hunger, there's a thirst for knowledge to think differently. And in particular, I think people are realizing that meaning is a way for them to get outside of their own preconceived notions and ideas of how something should work or how something works. We call it sort of the industry lens. And when we talk to companies, we always contrast the industry lens from the consumer-centric lens because they're fundamentally different, sometimes so dramatically different that it makes all of us in the room kind of feel stupid for not having thought it. But that's why the anthropologists, that's why you need to keep the anthropologists
it works for everybody though, right, Jason?
Yeah.
We asked this a couple episodes ago. I said, do you work with anyone?
Well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, just building off what Ujwal just said, it's funny, like even through this season, we've talked about like the changing role of masculinity. We've talked about, the changing kind of approach to empathy that parents bring to the table with their children. If you look at us at a human level, we're changing, we're evolving. Culture is coming into a new shape in how we live our lives as people, depending on where we live, obviously. But the same thing is happening, for corporations and with businesses, because they're starting to realize that, a corporation that acts like a 1950s dad that just comes home, sits down and drinks a bottle of scotch while watching TV while, his wife takes care of the kids and makes dinner is no longer relevant today. And, and this idea that we can, act without emotion, this idea that we can act purely based on logic, with actually decoding the human condition and thinking about the role it plays in creating a stronger connection with people, whether that is through kind of the thing you sell, whether that's through the messaging that you use, right down to just what the actual company stands for. These are all the things that are basically kind of exciting for us because we're readily seeing people and companies that inherently have not thought that this was right for them start to realize that they have an opportunity to really differentiate themselves by decoding that human condition and owning it.
I think what you're getting at is, in my world, in my sphere, we'd say that the most dangerous 6 words to ever say is it's always been done that way. So it's these companies who are now realizing, oh, we've always been doing it this way and it's not working. And whether their balance sheet is a bajillion dollars or, you know, $1 million. I don't think it matters, right? It's this courage to step into this space of it's time to actually look at a different way of understanding the market.
Yeah, and you know, we were really energized this morning because we had a sales call with one of the largest management consulting companies in the world. And one of the things they told us is that while we're very good at what we do in management consulting, the fundamental problem we have is so are all our competitors, right? All the things that we think we're very, very good at, so are they. So really, how do we compete in this environment? We don't want to play the price war game. That's never good for anybody. So how do we compete? We compete by engaging the human being. We compete by engaging their values and their beliefs and the meanings they give to the work they do. And that's why they wanted to talk to a company of anthropologists. And, you know, that's not only is it amazing that they are realizing that and even coming to the table with that, but I think for us, it was just such a wonderful moment because management consulting, we always look at it as sort of the, you know, the farthest away from what we do because everything they do is so logical and very accounting and finance focused and IT focused. But now to see that bridge being built, I think that's setting the tone for the future. I think the future is truly human-centric, truly consumer-centric, and the anthropologists get to be at the table talking about issues that may not obviously link to someone's business, but they do. For example, you know, why does happiness and how happiness is changing affect your business as a food company or even as a management consultancy? Why does work and fulfillment affect you? All the way down to, you know, I don't know, why does a glass jar that is used to store pickles affect your business? Everything has meaning, and I think in the next season, I'm excited to talk about some funny examples and also some very serious examples of issues that may be seemingly not obvious or traditionally considered insights, but is extremely relevant and in fact driving a lot of innovation.
I'd like to bring some new voices too into the fold for season 2, like members of your team. I'm curious to hear about how they operate and work with your clients and parse all of this data and meaning as well. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We have, I'm excited to bring our head of research, who is an extremely soft-spoken but brilliant woman.
We'll get her a very powerful microphone.
We will get her a very powerful microphone. But, you know, we sometimes joke because she sees hundreds of projects a month. She doesn't spend time on every single one of them, but she oversees hundreds of projects a month, which basically means she interacts with all kinds of ideas. So we usually joke saying she's the most learned person in the company and perhaps will soon be the most learned person in the world because the amount she's absorbing in terms of learning about parts of the world that you otherwise wouldn't, you know, because we tend to be quite focused in what we read and what we spend time talking about. I think that's amazing. And that's one of the things we also love about our job is we get to, through the work we do, we get to learn about the world. I mean, I can, you know, I mean, this is certainly not there might be some feminists listening that maybe call me an anti-feminist for saying this, but I'm going to take that risk. You know, the other day, my wife was asking me something about a particular brand of tampon she was using, and I gave her advice on something else that she could try.
Research.
Only because we had done 3 massive projects on this. Because she wanted to consider the whole sustainability game and the whole gut microbiome game, and she didn't know anything about it. And I was like, "Let me tell you." And she was like, "Really?" She raised an eyebrow and said, "You're going to give me advice on this?"
Amazing example of mansplaining I've ever heard in my life.
I was like,
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. But of course, Obviously we're in a safe space, and she still loves me last time I checked. So it was fine. But I think the cool thing is that that's a topic that I would have never actively gone and researched, right? It's not like I'm sitting around going, let me research the world of, I don't know, gut microbiome, vaginal microbiome. Why would I do that? But now I do. And it's amazing to learn about the world.
It's fascinating when you really take a step back and you realize how much perspective you have across things that you never really understood previously. And, when we have meetings with our head of research or, our team that, is on the ground working directly with the client, their understanding of people is fascinating. And, even if we're talking about a movie that they went and saw the night before, it's a completely different understanding of why choices were made, or what it's actually saying to people, or how it's going to be received, because they have their finger on the pulse of where culture is going and what is going to resonate with people in a way that it's just fascinating.
Well, I feel like we're just getting started. And if I can just share what I think I have learned about you two, about what you do over the last 12 episodes, I think it's that there's so much, we underestimate the value of curiosity and asking the better question. And at the end of the day, that's really what this is ask a better question, get a better answer. And I think that's the energy we want to take into season 2. We'll bring some more voices in. We'll get into the nuts and bolts of some of these great examples and, frankly, case studies that you've worked on that can really illuminate and show how this works, like, on the ground in real life. So that's it for season 1. Thanks, guys. This has been a blast. Super fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this is Why Meaning Matters. If you have any comments for the show, please drop us an email, hello@storystudionetwork.com. This is it for season 1. So if you're just tuning in, make sure you go back to episode 1 and give us a binge listen and come back for season 2. And don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. We'll see you in the next season.
Thanks for listening to Why Meaning Matters with Ujwal Arkulgud, Jason Partridge, and your host, Aaron Trafford.
Inconceivable! You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Why Meaning Matters is produced for Motive Base and the Story Studio Network by Eye Contact Productions.